Urubwado, Okbewado, Sapele Wado. This is actually a very serious matter. It's like there's a generation that no longer knows Joseph in the Bible. And so they started dealing with the Israelites. They have forgotten how they came. They have forgotten history. I begin to understand that the Shekiri authorities are among the people that may have also sided with the government to exterminate history from school so that they can rewrite history again. Because some of these things happened less than 100 years ago and they're already rewriting it by what we call outright fabrication. They come here and they quote, because there's one now by one of their high chiefs all over the social media. And this is what we found, duly certified from the National Archive. For those of you who have not visited the National Archive before, I have gone to the National Archive more than 50 times. Yes, you can carry a document from house here to National Archive. They will certify it for you. It does not make it authentic. The authentic ones are the ones in their own file. It has what we call file number. And then it has what we call boundary number and class mark. They will not certify it for you. And it's a director that will do it. The other one you will just see certified from National Archive. It's just for them to eat your money. It has no force of law. National Archive will not come and defend it. If you are a smart lawyer, challenge it that you are not sure that this document is from National Archive. They will run back to National Archive. National Archive will say, no. We cannot defend this one. You only came here. You said we should certify it from you. It didn't come from us. But the one, why is it that they have refused to quote the file number of all the ones they duly certified from National Archive? They think with money, they can corrupt everywhere. They forged private documents, took it to National Archive, and National Archive certified for them. No file number, they didn't create file, no reference number, no boundary mark, no class mark. So all those ones are tricky that they'll be using. People that forge documents, that is how they behave. All those things, they don't have force of law. So let us continue. Those of you who are new to Sapele, if you read my articles, Ayomanor was born in Sapele in the year 1845 by his father Erida. It means his father must have been there since around 1810. It follows the Fourth Open Civil War, which I narrated. There was a quarrel between the house of Ogodo and the Amuokpe house. We will talk about that because that is open history. Now, the Ishekiris came to Sapele in the year 1894 following another war. That is what all of them said. And all of them agreed in their record of proceedings that they were received by Chifu Fotoku, who himself was an Urubu man. I told you that for you to mention the word Amuokpe, you have already agreed that Sapele, because before the British came, the name of the place was Amuokpe. Or can the Shekiri tell us the name they were calling Sapele before the British came? Sapele is a British corruption of Uriapele. William Moore said Sapele was founded by Princess Oyefu. We of the Shekiris in the whole of Sapele can trace their ancestry from Oyefu. All the witnesses that came, their first witness, William Moore, traced his ancestry to Luakembua maternally. The other one, Ogbubene, said he was a slave. The other one again was this wife of Ogbubene. Ikomi, who was the head chief of the Sapele people, who came to testify, she found Ayomanor just defended him with the list he gave to him in 1911. You came to Sapele in 1911 and I gave you the land lease. Ikomi is here. Ikomi. That's why I said you must be very careful. If you don't stop this thing now, if you don't stop it, Ikomi family in Sapele came to Sapele in 1911 and Ayomanor gave them a land and they paid. The receipt is here. You should be very, very careful. If you want us to disgrace your ancestors, we'll help you do it. You are just talking about things you don't know. Or what is his name? Amaritok, what is it? I cannot pronounce it, check it very well. Amarotise, Amaritok something Ikomi. Then the First Baptist Church take the list too from Ayomanor for Toku. What's his name here? Agoji, Reverend Father Agoji took the list too. Why for the government primary school took the list from Omarin? All of them, they are here. They submitted them during the cases. Ikomi had to defer that he's not going to continue the case. And that it was done that told them to stop paying leases, that the place is now no land in 1928. That criminal, first 419 in Nigeria, was the person. You see what that woman did. Now let me tell you the story now. Or you are going to get some things. You are going to get some things for the very first time. Ogodo grandfather, his maternal grandfather, not his paternal grandfather, because Ogodo became an open man through his mother's side, not through his father's side. His father Okubo was son of Odia, was an Isha man. I don't want to go to that story. I have a reason why I want to do that. I will respect that. His grandfather was Obrifo from Ogodo in Ogara here. And that's why some of you, one descendant of Ogodo was telling me that Ogodo is not going to go. Ogodo, I said, shut up. Do you know where your grandfather Ogodo came from? It was in the court here. His own son, Itoto Ogodo, was a witness that my great-grandfather Obrifo came from Ogodo in Ogara. He migrated to Amuokpe. There was a problem in Amuokpe that time. People were dying. There was a pestilence. And Ogeba needed a medicine man to cleanse the whole of the land, to appease God. And the Ogodo family in the Ogodo. And as I was telling the Shekiri people that when they say Ogodo, the original owners of Ogodo was the grandfather of Ogodo, Obrifo. Him, his brother Ogidiagba, Are, and the Wuba, they left on the invitation of Ogeba and they came to Sapele. Now, Ogeba has a funny behavior. When strangers come to Amuokpe, he does not allow them to stay in Amuokpe. He allows them to stay in Amuokpe, the Sapele side, because that is where they will do their spiritual work, the river. He camped them there. It's not only Ogodo family, the other family, Inoche, Ogodo, and Iyegale. Some of the people call it Ijegale, but Iyegale. We are worshiping Uriapele. They were also a priest family, but this one came from Orerope. Direct after the fall of Orerope, they went there to that place at the direction of Ojegba. Now, after cleansing the place, they found that the place would be very conducive, and they decided to stay. And Ojegba asked them to stay there. Then this is Brifu now married Erukame, Ojegba's sister, and gave birth to a woman called Anakaja. It was Anakaja that now married Okubo and gave birth to Ogodo. Now, as you can see, Ogodo was from a rich and influential family of powerful native doctors. When they cleanse your community, they take lands in return. They give them lands in return. That is why even Ogidiaba, that owns area of Okurigwe, owns land. I don't want to go into all those areas because I saw a document recently how Ogidiaba sold one prominent Ope village in 1895 today. Nobody knows. I didn't even know that Ogiriama owns land down to this Omarin village here. And so they were there. Omarin family, Ethamua, son of Ogodo, they came from Amuokpe. They were all staying in Ethamua, which is the stranger's quarter. This was long before Shekiri came to Ethamua. Now, of all the people there, including Abeke was in Oton, the story of Abeke, Umerikube, a sister of Ojeba, married a Benin man called Ake. That's another story. I don't want to go into all those ones. I have a reason why I don't want to go into all those ones. You understand? They were there. It's like the sons of women, Ojeba settled them in that side, in the outskirts. While the sons of men were staying in Amuokpe proper. The only person who was the son of a man staying with them on the Sapele side was a leader who happened to be their last born. Maybe he just wanted to, I don't want to drag things with my senior brother, let me stay here. And that's why most times, Ayomanor and Omarin will be calling Ogodo strangers. When they are quarreling among themselves anyway. Even when Ayomanor called Omarin stranger, Omarin had to drag him to court. That was in 1928. The judgment is here. And Omarin won Ayomanor in the case that I shouldn't call him stranger. Because Omarin's father was paying tribute to Ojeba in Amuokpe for staying in Ethamua. That's what I was trying to tell you people. There was a time he didn't pay the tribute on time. So he was afraid. He was afraid that if he go and pay the tribute, Ojeba might kill him because he was late. So he sent his wife to go and pay the tribute. When the wife got there, after collecting the tribute, they passed the wife and gave it to the younger brother for 2 years before returning him back to him. And the title, they now gave a title to Ojeba. In Open language, you know it now, I wouldn't want to say it. The man who collects the gift and also the woman who brought the gift, he collects all of them. That is the correct title the Duke of Amuokpe is answering in Open language. That is the story. That is how that story came about. You understand? Good. Now, when the white men came, according to Ayomanor, it's in this place when Morehouse was trying to settle Ayomanor, Asagba, Abeke, Ogodo, Ikariko, and Eyefia. The minutes of the meeting is here. It happened in 1913 when Ogodo took Doe to court. Ayomanor gave the story. He said when the white men came, they usually met my father. And my father collected all the dashes. Did you call it gift? Collected all the dashes. And he used to distribute it among all the people in the four quarters. Get it? He said when the European traders came, they met my father, who used to distribute all the gifts, all the dashes. His dashes, he called it here now. Please, because of I should have opened this place down so that I would have read it for you people straight. What Ayomanor said, what Ogodo said, what Abeke said, and what Eyefia said, and what Asagba said. All of them were quarreling with Ogodo because Ogodo said that I'm coming, I will open it. Let me not distract myself. Yeah. Ogodo said that the lease done by me should be nullified. That it is him that is supposed to make that lease that was causing the problem. Okay. So, what happened was this. When Ayomanor's father died, Ethamua, Omarin's father, son of Ogodo, now became Yopako. He continued with the habit of sharing the gift from the British trader. After Ethamua died, Ofotoku now became Yopako. The Ofotoku today now, some of his descendants, most of his descendants are not Sapele, they are migrated to Ogara. That's why you tell you the link between Urobo. If you call Ofotoku people, they'll tell you Ogara people. But it was their ancestors that settled the Shekiri, where they are today now in Ethamua. They came. Ofotoku settled them there. Ofotoku was still taking the habit of sharing the money within the 4 quarters. But before they share the money within the 4 quarters, they will take the money to Amuokpe, their ancestral home, where all of them came from. The head of the Amuokpe family, which is Ojeba, who was now there as at 1894, his son Asagba, will now bless the gift, take a little from it before they share to the rest. That was the culture. When Ofotoku died, Ogodo now became the Opako of Amuokpe. Now, it's either Ogodo is older than Asagba. I don't know, but Asagba died in 1914 and Ogodo died in 1926. Or Ogodo, I don't know. Ogodo, what was this? Ogodo leaves Sapele prison in 1902. And he refused to take the money down to Amuokpe. So Asagba had it. And Asagba said Ogodo should bring the money. Ogodo said he cannot. That why he too is the head of the village here. You understand? Asagba said, no, I am the head of the village. He said, no, this is another village. I cannot recognize your authority. And so the quarrel started between the both men. It's understandable. I have seen this thing happen before, whereby the son of a woman decided the mother raised him as one of his own in his father's side, but after he is grown up, he wants to establish a new dynasty, and so they took the matter to Donuma. Donuma, how had the story, said they should share the land into 2, and in 1904, Donuma separated, and Shekiri man as a standing on behalf of the British in a court case, separated Sapele from Amuokpe. So, why was not, if the Shekiris were there, why did any Shekiri not call to say, no, Sapele is different from Amuokpe? It was still Ogodo, who, from the story I've heard now, does not have any link with the Shekiri. His father was Okubo. His mother was Anakaja, daughter of Amuokpe to Odeba. And that was why his own son, he told to Ogodo, when he was testifying in the Sapele case, he said, my father was trying to use his father's inheritance to claim a land his mother's people gave to him. That was what caused the quarrel. His own son was truthful. He said the land came through Erukamre, the grandmother of my father. But my father was not saying he got the land through his father. He said that was what caused the quarrel. And indeed, Ogodo said he got the land through his father. Later he wrote to the British. That was what caused the quarrel. And so, Donuma thought he has succeeded in dividing both of them. I told you they like to use the principle of divide and rule. So, when the big one now came now, which is the whole of Ethamua, where they are all staying, to lease it, he ran to meet Ogodo. Let me lease it. I will collect 30%, you collect 70%. Ogodo said, what is wrong with you? Me. You lease my land, you collect. I don't need agents to lease the land. I will lease the land by myself. I lease Sapele prison by myself. I didn't contact you, and that was the saving grace. Because it was the lease of Sapele prison by 1902. It was not the first evidence that Ogodo people own the land. Because Donuma, the Jekris, because they were not trying to use the lease of 1908. That was their claim, the Shekiri claim. So, when Ogodo refused, Donuma ran back again to meet Asagba. You are really correct. Ogodo is not somebody to support. He's rejecting me. And based on that, Omarin, Ayomanor, Asagba wrote a letter to Donuma in 1908 that we are ready to support you to fight Ogodo that is a stranger. He has divided them. I tell you that that's how they operate, the British. and the story changed. Donuma now went to lease the land as an agent instead of on behalf of Ogodo, paramount chief of Sapele people. He now leases it on behalf of the chiefs and people of Sapele. That the land is a communal land belonging to all the chiefs and people of Sapele. That is not the origin of the communality of Sapele land. If not, Ogodo used to have his own land, Abeke used to have his own land, Ayomanor have his own land. The only common land they all of them have is Ethamua, where they were putting strangers. That was what happened. I will continue in my next episode with the interest.